Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, The Legit Astrologer. My name is Rajat Kapoor. Today is the next part of the video where I'm going to talk about Saturn's retrograde transit in the sign of Aquarius and how it is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs or the moon signs. So from a physical, material life perspective, you can read this transit from your ascendant sign, and from a mental perspective, you can read this transit from your moon sign. Just to clarify, the system that I use is the sidereal zodiac, which is based on the ancient Hindu astrology system, and I do not use the Western or the tropical zodiac because sidereal is far more accurate. It is based on the current placement of planets in the night sky as they are. And in case you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you keep yourself updated with all the transit videos and all the astrology videos that will be upcoming. Thank you. Let's start with Aries ascendants. For Aries ascendants, Saturn is the ruler of the 10th house and the 11th house, and Saturn is going to go retrograde on 17th of June in the 11th house itself in the sign of Aquarius. While being retrograde, it will continue to aspect the first house, the 5th house and the 8th house based on the three aspects that Saturn has. So Saturn aspects 3rd from its position, 7th and 10th from its position. The 3rd and the 10th aspect are 100% aspects. So two things to take into account is, one is that 7th from Saturn, and this applies to all the ascendants. 7th from Saturn is going to be highly active during the retrograde time. This is based on one of the principles from Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, and also the fact that it is retrograde. Retrograde means looking backwards. Retrograde means moving in a reverse direction. Retrograde means taking a step back. It is more of giving an impression that it is taking a step back or moving in the reverse direction. So it holds a special significance. So while being in the 11th house, Saturn is looking back at the 10th house. Now some astrologers say that when a planet is retrograde, it delivers the results of the previous house. I am not of that opinion. It will continue to deliver results that it is supposed to based on its lordship, placement and other connections. But here Saturn is looking back at the 10th house. So this is time for you to look back in terms of your career, in terms of your job, the work that you do, and try to reflect, introspect with regards to the decision you've been making. Since Saturn's aspect is also going to be on the 5th house, and 5th house is going to be pretty much active, the sign of Leo. So wherever it falls in your chart. So in Aries ascendant, it falls in the 5th house. Future plans, wealth, how you can create wealth, focus on children, short to mid-term recognition. I could very comfortably say that between September till November, for Aries ascendants, if you're going through a favorable Mahadasha, you are likely to be recognized at your workplace. And this period can result in significant amount of gains, considering that you put some extra efforts, you fix your daily routine from June through September. During this transit, wherever the sign of Taurus, Gemini and Capricorn is in your chart, that is going to deliver positive results based on the nakshatra principles, because Saturn is going to be transiting in the nakshatra of Shatabisha, which is ruled by Rahu, and it is going to be transiting in the nakshatra of Dhanishta at a later point in time. So this means the 2nd house, 3rd house and 10th house are likely to deliver positive results, which means there are gains indicated at the workplace, considering that you put some efforts in the first 2 or 3 months. There's going to be a lot of efforts around this time, particularly with regards to workplace. But overall, I consider the retrograde transit when Saturn is extremely powerful to be beneficial for you. I wish you the very best. Let's talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus, Saturn rules the 9th house and the 10th house, and it is making a retrograde transit from 17th of June till 4th of November in the 10th house itself. Saturn is also one of the significators of the 10th house because it is the Karam Karak. So in this case, please be prepared for karmic repercussions related to your 10th house. Now, whether it will be good, whether it be bad is quite dependent on the natal placement of Saturn and the current Mahadasha, Antardasha that you're going through. For further details, you can watch my previous video wherein I have explained the general implications and who is likely to be impacted by this transit. From here, Saturn will continue to aspect the 12th house, 4th house and 7th house. Your 4th house is likely to be highly active, which means that you will have a lot of intent towards achieving utmost satisfaction. What makes you feel comfortable? Taurus ascendants people for the next few months are likely to stay in their comfort zones, which could be good for you for time being. I mean, we always say that sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone, sometimes we have to stay in our comfortable space as well. So this will be my advice to all the Taurus ascendants, because this is going to give you some sort of mental peace, which is of most importance at this time. For this, I would recommend you to meditate every day. Saturn is looking back at your 9th house, the house of fortune, the house of dharma, the house of luck. So it is time to take a step back, reflect on some of the decisions that you have made in the last few months and try to analyze whether it has been right or if you have to make any corrective measures, because you would put efforts that could support your fortune, your destiny and what you want to do in life. This is also the time for you to mend certain ties and relationship with either your father, teachers or seniors at your workplace, your bosses, because that will help you in a good way to move forward in the right direction. So please mend those ties during this time. During this time, your 1st house, your 2nd house and 9th house are going to witness positive results. So it is about yourself, your family and your higher learning, putting a lot of focus and getting benefited out of higher learning. Towards the end of the year, you're also likely to pick up a course or a skill which could be extremely beneficial for you. Overall, I would say it's a satisfactory transit for Taurus ascendants. Towards the later part of this transit, you're likely to benefit the most. I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Gemini ascendants. For Gemini, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 8th house and the 9th house. Again, just like Taurus ascendants, Saturn is an important planet and a Karaka planet for Gemini ascendants. Now, this Saturn is making a retrograde transit in the 9th house, which is going to be retrograde till 4th of November. So it is looking back at your 8th house matters. Now from the 9th house, Saturn continues to aspect the 11th house, the 3rd house and the 6th house. 3rd house is highly active during this time, which indicates change, which would push you to do things differently in an unconventional manner. So for example, if you've been trying to apply for jobs and you've not been successful, you need to look back and see what decisions have you made, your actions. Maybe you need to reform your CV, you need to send applications differently, you need to connect with people, you need to learn a skill, you need to leverage your communication to do things differently. So it's up to you, you do it by your will or wait for Saturn to push you to your limits. So Saturn wants you to look back at your transformation and the change that is upcoming and be receptive of this journey. Your decisions at workplace need a check, and I strongly feel that towards the mid part of the transit, particularly after mid of August, there are chances of increment or some sort of wealth opportunities that could be massive in nature as well. Certain people might see some inheritance coming during this time if your ongoing dasha is supportive, which will be beneficial for you. During this time, your 12th house, your 1st house and 8th house are going to witness positive results. So it is a lot about spirituality. Get into spiritual practices, do yoga, pranayam every day. It is going to be highly beneficial for you. So the initial phase is a bit struggling, but mid-August onwards, things will start getting back on track, and towards the end it looks like a successful period. I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Cancer ascendants. For Cancer ascendants, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 7th house and the 8th house, and it is making a retrograde transit in the 8th house. It is looking back at 7th house matters, your relationship matters, harmony matters. That needs a check. From the 8th house, Saturn continues to aspect the 10th house, 2nd house and 5th house, with a greater focus on 2nd house matters, family, wealth, time to put your energies in accumulated wealth and savings and certain decisions with regards to your investment for your own future, for your own betterment, in order to cope up with uncertain times. This time period calls for a balanced approach in your life. You got to mend your relationship, focus on harmony in marriage or relationship, or if you're looking forward to get married, this is the time to put some efforts into it, which can give you some success if your Mahadasha is supportive. A lot of Cancer ascendants will go out and get marriage advice or consultations during this time because of the uncertainty which will be going on in their mind and in their lives as well. And there is no harm in taking advice if it can work for you and get you some mental peace. During this time, your 11th house, 12th house and 7th house are going to be active. So this means those who are running their business, it is time to put some focus there. There could be gains that are indicative. You can have favors from foreigners or people from foreign land, or make connections abroad. Overall, I would say it's a mixed transit, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Leo ascendants. For Leo ascendants, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 6th house and the 7th house, and it is going retrograde in the 7th house itself. Saturn is also considered Digbali, or it gains directional strength in the 7th house. There is blessings of the Devata. From the 7th house, Saturn is aspecting the 9th house, the 1st house and the 4th house, with greater focus on the 1st house, that is your ascendant itself. Time to change and evolve your personality, bring in discipline and commitment in your life, bring in a sense of balance and focus in your life. Remember, this self-focused time is coming after a long period of time, which is quite supportive for you. So make sure you leverage and channelize these energies in the right manner. Leo ascendants, particularly during this time period, are being supported by both Jupiter and Saturn. So this could really be a game changer transit for you, particularly later in a couple of months when Sun comes in your ascendant as well. Time to put some focus on your daily routine, daily chores, and how you can cope up with the tasks that you have on a day-to-day basis. Your duty and responsibility is in the kind of job that you're doing. So make sure you put some extra efforts and commitment there, because you are expected to overcome competition during this time. You will face competition in business and work. However, during this time, you will get favors from other people. You will get favors from your competition as well. You will be able to surpass them. This is those rare times when opposition will favor you eventually. Particularly July through September is quite a favorable time. During this time, your 10th house, your 11th house and your 6th house are going to deliver positive results. It is about a job, either a new job or some sort of promotion, recognition in your existing job, or some sort of gains at your workplace or in the kind of work that you're doing. Overall, I'd say it's quite a positive retrograde transit for Leo ascendants, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Virgo ascendants. For Virgos, Saturn rules the 5th house and the 6th house, and it is making a retrograde transit in the 6th house itself. Saturn is also one of the significator or karaka of the 6th house. From here, Saturn is going to aspect the 8th house, the 12th house and the 3rd house, with the 12th house being absolutely very active, which indicates giving. Give, help the elders. Saturn is an old planet, it signifies elders. Do some sort of charity or donation towards elder, also towards the labor class, how you can support, because Saturn also represents all kinds of labor. This is also a time to put some focus on your health. So make sure you get a checkup, make sure you exercise every day, because if you start doing it now, you are likely to become more regular at it and you can see some sort of transformation in your life. Now you need to look back at your decisions for a better future, because this is the 5th house calling. This is the time to put your speculative mind in action, to make some decisions for yourself so that you can have a secondary source of income. This time calls for focus on children, those who have parents. Put some focus, try to build relationship there, and most importantly, get advice and feedback from other people that can help you in this decision making process. There is also an ask from Virgo ascendants to do things a bit more creatively, do things differently, think out of the box. This is also what Rahu wants during this time. In this transit, your 9th house, 10th house and 5th house are likely to deliver positive results. Absolutely, it indicates gain, fame and recognition, but then towards the later part of this transit, considering if you put your acts together, if you get your actions right, overall it is a favorable transit and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Libra ascendants. For Libra ascendants, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 4th house and the 5th house, and this Saturn is making a retrograde transit in the 5th house itself. From here, Saturn is aspecting the 7th house, the 11th house and the 2nd house, with the 11th house being quite highly active during this time period, which means your energy is going to be a lot in terms of your overall network, your friends, so you make sure you leverage from your friends as much of benefit that you can. These are going to be testing time for you with regards to your friends, and also a lot of focus and energies in terms of getting gains. Now during this time, Saturn wants you to look back at things that give you mental peace, how you get satisfied, doing things that make you feel content. So this could be an ideal time to not focus a lot on your work and putting all your energies there, but doing something else in life, picking up a hobby or an area of interest for the time being, which can be highly beneficial for you in terms of giving you mental peace. One thing that Libra ascendants need to be cautious during this time is not to vent out your emotions out in the public. So be careful while posting on social media or getting into an argument in the public, or just venting your emotions in the public. By the nature of your ascendant sign, you're expected to have some balance. You're expected to be mature. So leverage from your maturity and just be slightly cautious. And during this time, your 8th house, your 9th house and 10th house are going to be pretty active. It is time to change yourself instead of putting focus on changing others, because the one that you can change is yourself. It is also time to stay away from negative people, bad energies. Ignore for the time being. Don't pay much attention to those energies, as it can be detrimental for you. So for your own good, stay away. Overall, I would say it's a mixed transit, but I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Scorpio ascendants. For Scorpio ascendants, Saturn is the ruler of the 3rd house and the 4th house, and this Saturn is making a retrograde transit in your 4th house. Now from the 4th house, it is aspecting the 6th house, the 10th house and the 1st house. Your 10th house is very much active during this time. That means your energies are going to be at your work, in your job, trying to settle things down, trying to make good decisions which are associated to your work. If you're looking for new opportunities, this could be quite a transformational time in order to be successful. Some of the things which were getting delayed at workplace, now they're expected to move a bit faster than usual. Now there is some desire to change based on the previous experience. It could be negative experience or it could be a good experience. Now based on some of the previous experience, you will have a desire to change that will be beneficial for you. So it is time for you to sit back, reflect, think about some of your actions in the past and try to visualize this change that you want to bring in. This is also an opportunity for you to put focus on your communication. So learn to communicate, use various mediums and channels to communicate with others. During this time, your 7th house, 8th house and 3rd house are going to deliver positive results. So it is time to put a lot of passion in your relationship to create that sense of harmony. This is the duty call. Balance is the key, but you got to take care of those who have a close relationship with you, particularly your partner. Overall, it is a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Sagittarius ascendants. For Sagittarius ascendants, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 2nd house and the 3rd house, and it is making a retrograde transit in your 3rd house. Now from the 3rd house, it is aspecting your 5th house, it is aspecting your 9th house and the 12th house, with the high focus on the 9th house, putting your energies into your dharma, into your fortune. So this could be a transformational yet a fortunate period for Sagittarius ascendants, keeping in mind if you're going through a favorable or the right dasha. There are chances of higher learning, there are chances of getting some purpose driven, mission driven work. which will give you a lot of good energies. This is the time when Saturn demands you to look back at your family and also your wealth, taking certain decisions with regards to your accumulated wealth and savings and investments. Be a bit careful of your speech, particularly at home with your family. Understand the situation first before you react. This will ensure that you speak in a calm and a soft manner to everyone. During this time, your 6th house, 7th house and 10th house are going to deliver positive results, which means there is likely support at your workplace. But you might need to consult someone in terms of the decisions that you make that will help you in making a right choice. Though you may trust your decision, but there is no harm in seeking an advice or a consultation from other people. Overall, I would say it's a positive transit, more from a wealth perspective, focus on the family perspective, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Capricorn ascendants. For Capricorn ascendants, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 1st house and the 2nd house, and it is going retrograde in your 2nd house. From here, it is aspecting the 4th house, 8th house and the 11th house, with special focus and energies in the 8th house. Time to learn occult, time to learn astrology, something that is hidden. There is also likely time for inheritance or gains through inheritance, something that was stuck for a long period of time. Make sure you put your energies in research and learning the right things, because you can do wonders by your research during this time. Saturn demands you to look back at yourself, your ascendant, and the kind of change that you would like to bring in. Focus on yourself first before you focus on the world or other people. There is a lot of time that you need to put to remove any kind of self-doubt that you have in order to build your self-confidence, because you would need that a lot during this time. When you do something, even if it's a little piece of work, give yourself a pat on the back. Don't wait for others to acknowledge or appreciate. That is the key to self-motivation. During this time, your 5th house, 6th house and 1st house are going to witness positive results. So this is time for future focus. Why? For yourself and your actions and your daily routine. So take charge. Stay as active as you can throughout the day. Overall, it is a favorable transit for Capricorn ascendants. I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Aquarius ascendants. For Aquarius ascendants, Saturn becomes the ruler of your 12th house and your 1st house, your ascendant. It is making a retrograde transit in your ascendant. From here, it is aspecting your 3rd house, 7th house and the 10th house. With very high, deep focus on 7th house matters, people who are opposite to you, putting your energies in your marriage, in your relationship, in order to create balance and a sense of harmony. This is what Saturn wants you to do during this time. So channelize your energies, put a lot of focus. In case you're not married, this could be a potentially favorable time for you to find yourself a soulmate or a partner, and you might have some sort of karmic connection with this person that you may discover. Saturn also demands you to look back and focus on your health, on your well-being, increasing your self-awareness and ensuring that you're conscious about your own self. It is good to be, because sometimes when we are conscious about ourselves, our decisions are made right. We make better decisions. We act in a way that is in the best interest of our own self. So you really need to remove dependencies and think independently during this time. In this transit, your 4th house, 5th house and 12th house are going to witness positive results, which means if you're working or planning to start work, you're likely to get support from your home and also supported by people from foreign lands or foreigners or people from other cultures that you might end up working with. This support could be beneficial for your future. So make sure that you connect with people. As much of networking that you will do during this time will be quite beneficial for you. This will really expand your horizon. Overall, it is a mixed transit, but an important one, and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Pisces ascendants. For Pisces, Saturn becomes the ruler of the 11th house and the 12th house, and this Saturn is making a retrograde transit in the 12th house. Saturn is also one of the significator of the 12th house or the Karaka. From here, Saturn continues to aspect the 2nd house, 6th house and the 9th house with very high focus on the 6th house matters, daily routines, competition. You will have to put all your energy in your daily routine and in your job. That is Saturn's call of duty. And in order to do that successfully, you will have to look back to your friends. You might have to take some advice, a friendly advice from those who you trust, because in terms of making certain decisions, you're likely to face some confusions or a dilemma, whether it's related to job change, whether it's related to a relationship. You might come across certain dilemma or a doubt, and that needs to be clarified. Someone needs to tell you that you are doing the right thing, which will boost your self-confidence and your conviction. You will also look at how you can get gains or multiple sources of income, something that you can do outside of your work, maybe starting a small business that can get you some gains in the short to medium term. But most importantly, you need to fix your fundamentals. You need to get your basics right, and please reach out to people to get advice. Stay resilient, because this will help you in your decision making process and ensure that you take wise steps. During this transit, your 3rd house, 4th house and 11th house are going to demonstrate positive results. Change is inevitable, but it's a better change that is upcoming. The initial road could be a bit challenging. There could be speed bumps, there could be twists and turns, but towards the end there is success. So accept this change with a lot of energy, with a lot of enthusiasm and joy. Overall, it is a mixed transit, but it will make you a better person. I wish you the very best. So this was about Saturn's retrograde transit for all ascendants, and I have explained it in a simple manner. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, spread the word, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos on transits and on various topics of astrology. And in case you wish to book a personalized consultation with me, you can check out the link to my website in the comment section. I hope Saturn's retrograde transit in Aquarius gives us wisdom and the power to face whatever actions that we can over the next few months. God bless us all. Thank you very much.